If making progress in your career is on your 2025 to-do list, listen up here. Our next guest has some tips for mapping out your priorities on the job hunt. I'm joined by Michael Horn, author of Job Moves, 9 Steps for Making Progress in Your Career. Great to have you here with us, Michael. So first, as you're thinking about even beginning to start the process of making the search and how to make that next job move, where should you begin in that effort?
I think far too many people, Brad, start to think, oh, I'm just going to fresh up the resume, start to blitz it out to every single job posting. And what we advise is actually take a beat, slow down a little bit, and really reflect on what's the progress you're trying to make in your career right now. What really drives your energy? What capabilities do you want to be known for? And after you've done a little bit reflection, then you're ready to actually say, okay, I know how I want to hire my next job. Because people don't think about it, you get to hire your next job just as much as employers are hiring you.
Certainly. So once you start the interview process, how does that mindset really get taken to a new level?
Yeah, I think the big thing is know how to tell your story. We don't actually focus that much nearly enough on what's my elevator pitch? Why is my career shaped the way it has? My resume, it's sort of generic. It's not telling you, the employer, anything special about you. How do I really tell my story? And we actually, in the book, recommend that people adopt the Pixar story spine method so that you can really succinctly nail where you've been, what you've learned about yourself, where you're going, and why this is the job that's going to help them make progress and you make progress.
Which Pixar movie does that the best, Michael? This might seem like a tangent, but I think it might really help for a lot of people's viewing over the holidays so they could watch a Pixar movie and perhaps figure out, all right, I need to model my job hunt and the positioning for myself like that.
I think you got to go classic on this one. Any of the Toy Stories do it brilliantly. And that's really where they honed the craft, right? Of really nailing, how do we tell the story? What's that once upon a time? How do we get you invested in that beginning? Really think about the plot and what the characters learn about themselves. And then, of course, a brilliant resolution on all of those that made us excited for the sequels as well.
All right, Toy Story as the blueprint for the elevator pitch for your own career as well. Michael, one thing that we've also got to think about too is how people typically annex making a positive career move and an upward career move with how much their earnings might also increase as well. How can you be a strong negotiator and advocate for yourself to make sure that you're earning what you would like to as you're making job moves?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I think the big thing is know what the trade-offs you're willing to make ahead of time when you get into that conversation. A lot of people we found in our research, and we studied over 1,000 job switchers, they didn't know what trade-offs they were willing to make to get the progress that they really wanted. And so that's a question of priorities, right? What are the energy drivers? What's the money? What's the benefits? What are the capabilities that you really want to have in that next job? What are the things that you're saying, hey, those are nice to haves, but I'm willing to give them up so that I can get these things that are most important? And if you don't have a sense of how you're going to trade these off against each other, a lot of people get frozen in progress, or to your point, they take a job that's actually not really getting them that progress that they really need as they move.
You know, Michael, I wonder, as I was reading a LinkedIn post from a guest that we've had on before and had some great insights just around how Gen Z and Gen Alpha is really kind of reshaping the way that careers are thought about and the employee-employer relationship. How do you see the future of job moves and career trajectory perhaps not being, cast aside in its historical realm, but at least revamped to really understand the future of labor force participation and the people that are prioritizing some things in work-life balances versus that career trajectory?
I'm so glad you asked this question, because this is one of the biggest things that comes out in the research, which is that employers are really playing from a playbook that's at least a quarter century old at this point, which really frames progress as equating to progression up a career ladder. And what you find from individuals is that at least 75% of them are switching jobs not because they're trying to take that next step, up the career ladder in their job, But instead, they're looking to do things like regain control, regain alignment, or frankly, get out of a dead end job that just isn't working for them. And so that's why I think on the employee side, it's so important to have clarity about what progress means for you, because otherwise, the advice you're getting is probably not going to be a great fit for you. But on the other side of it, to your point about how this changes going forward, we think that employers have to have much better systems in place to understand why you chose them when you signed on the dotted line to show up to work there. Or how do we start to craft your job that lets you lean into the things that make you great, and then find someone else to do the things that you're weak at, but you're honest about that up front.
Yeah.
Just much more of a conversation.
Michael, thanks so much for taking the time here with us today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Brad.